What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So, I decided to do a live stream regarding Paramount and Warner Brothers and the insane $111 billion acquisition that David Ellison and Paramount did to acquire Warner Brothers. I kind of just wanted to wait a little while. First of all, just because I didn't have a lot of time to do this live stream when it first dropped last week. I had a really busy weekend and such. And second of all, I kind of just wanted to wait things out. I didn't want to do just solely speculation. I wanted to at least have some facts, have David Ellison and Paramount come out and kind of see what they would say regarding WB, and then kind of go from there and just kind of give my thoughts on why I think this is a good or bad choice and whether I think this will even go through or not. But yeah, just feel free to have a conversation down below, and at the end I'll take any questions you guys got, maybe even if it's not necessarily related to Paramount and WB. I'm more than happy to do that. I will probably keep this around 30 to 40 minutes just for a point of reference, so I'm probably not going to go any farther past that. So I'll try to answer as many questions as I can if this thing gets really packed. But without further ado, let's get started talking about this insane acquisition, probably one of the craziest things we've ever heard in the entertainment industry. I mean, it was crazy enough. I remember back in 2017 when Disney acquired 20th Century Fox. That was wild on its own terms. But I also remember it didn't seem as big of a deal, and a lot of people did it because Marvel was like the number one brand at the time, and buying Fox meant that we would get possibly better X-Men films, better Fantastic Four films, and just seeing them incorporated in the wider MCU picture was what excited a lot of people. So a lot of us didn't really think of the ramifications of that. But kind of coming here to this Paramount and Warner Brothers acquisition, I would say this is even bigger. Not just because there's more eyes on it and there's more of a kind of negative, there's a lot more negativity, I'll put it that way, with this acquisition than there was with Fox and Disney, because people saw a silver lining with that. Here we see a corporation that's really struggling, Warner Brothers, another corporation, Paramount, coming in and taking this 100-plus-year-old company and just pretty much doing nothing with it. And I think that's, well, we don't know what they're going to do with it, of course, but, just we don't really have too much of a plan. But I'm going to get into why I really feel like this could be a monopoly, and this is not something that I think movie fans or anybody should necessarily be celebrating. Why I also don't think maybe this is quite the cause for concern that a lot of us thought when we first heard the news, or even when Paramount first said they were looking to acquire WB. What's up, Gianna Shkuez? I hope I'm saying that name right. Good to see you. But yeah, kind of moving forward here, kind of just want to talk about Paramount's plans and what they've said for. What's up, Raised and Ruin Jr.? Good to see you guys. Thanks for swinging by. But kind of want to just start off talking about. Oh. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you. I don't really know what to say about the I have a boyfriend thing. Okay, that's cool, I guess. But glad you made it over here. So yeah, kind of going off, I want to talk about Paramount's actual plans for WB. And first of all, David Ellison has come out and Paramount's come out and said that they largely plan to keep Warner Brothers as Warner Brothers. And what they mean by that is, what's up, cool kid? What they mean by that is they want Warner Brothers to pretty much have the same creative team that they've been having, but they do want to consolidate some players from the marketing and distribution field. That's what I gathered, at least. Which, I mean, it really does. It's really unfortunate. I'll put it that way. When you see you like food, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna probably lay off of the comments for now, and then I'll come back and answer any questions later on in the video. But yeah, kind of as I was saying about Paramount and Warner Brothers, I just feel like. I forgot where I was at, but Paramount, they pretty much want to keep Warner Brothers as is. I think I already said that, but that was one of my big things with the Netflix merger. Is Netflix wanted to get Warner Brothers to basically use that as a gateway into theatrical releases and stuff like that. And I think with Paramount, at least with Netflix, we saw that they had a plan, and we also saw that they were going to keep pretty much everybody at Warner Brothers, like marketing, distribution, all of that. They were going to let them keep their jobs because it wasn't doubling down on anything. Netflix runs pretty much an entirely different thing than WB does realistically. Like, they own a streaming service that was wanting to get into theatrical. Paramount is a theatrical business trying to go and get into trying to buy up another theatrical business, or what you may call it. So it's kind of one of those things to where I am glad to hear that Paramount is letting Warner Brothers stay Warner Brothers. And I should also probably preface, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm kind of scatterbrained right now, but I should probably preface that with Paramount, and with any CEO, they're going to say whatever. They're going to kiss up to anything and everyone just to try to get this merger through, and just because it's whatever they think the people want. So there's always a chance that David Ellison and crew could be lying. But that said, I tend to, at face value, I can't really go off anything else in speculation or what the CEO says. So at the end of the day, I kind of have to go with what the CEO says, even though, like with most things, you should take it with a grain of salt. It's just, he has a bit more credibility than some nobody on YouTube, myself included. But, kind of going off of keeping WB as is, he's also said that Paramount has said that they reportedly wanted to keep James Gunn as head of DC Studios, which honestly, I'm down for that. I know he's a little bit divisive with the DC fandom at the moment. I know some people didn't like his Superman film. I actually quite enjoyed it. I think it doesn't hold up quite as well after a few viewings, you could say. But why is a lot of people live now? I don't know, man. It's YouTube. But I really enjoyed the Superman film for the most part. I'm excited to see the future. I didn't love the Lanterns trailer, but it did intrigue me, and I think he's intentionally trying to hide stuff from it. So, and then we also got Supergirl and Clayface. So I would say as a whole, DC's really cooking, and there's more hype for DC now than there has been probably since Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, like a decade plus ago. So, all that to say, I'm excited to see James Gunn stay. I'm hoping that Paramount doesn't meddle too much, because I know that was a big thing with him at WB, where David Zaslav was like, "Look, man, just do what you want." And I'm sure there's still checks and balances. I mean, he still works for David Zaslav, just like James Gunn is presumably still going to be working for David Ellison. But at the end of the day, I just hope they're not meddling too much, and I'm hoping that they're going to let him do the projects that he wants to do, and maybe just offer a little bit of guidance here and there, but not try to micromanage everything that he does. Like, let the boy cook. He knows what he's doing. And kind of going off of that, I want to kind of talk about the OG movies that Warner Brothers has been doing. Like, 2025 has been an absolutely goated year for WB. I mean, they had Sinners, they had Weapons, they had One Battle After Another. They did partly F1. I think they may have just distributed that movie, but because I know it was primarily Apple, but Warner Brothers played some part of that. But these are all great original films, and they all made money too. Like, I think all of these films were profitable. I think the only one that was maybe questionable in terms of its profitability was One Battle After Another. However, even that movie is like the clear front runner to win Best Picture in all of these nominations. So it's kind of one of those things, to where, like, yeah, it may not have made money, but it's still, you get the highest honor possible, most likely. And so, all that to say, Warner Brothers has had an absolutely terrific year. David Zaslav, well, I don't agree with every decision he's made, I think he's doing an absolutely great job at Warner Brothers. I think he's greenlighting the projects that he knows will work. I think he's hiring the right people. I think their creative team is among some of the best of any of these studios in Hollywood at the moment. So I'm pretty excited to see the future of Warner Brothers as Warner Brothers. But for those of you who don't know, when Paramount acquired WB, they acquired it and got into like $79 billion worth of debt. So Warner Brothers was already in debt. Paramount is acquiring this debt, and combine that with the $101 billion acquisition that they've done, they put themselves into, I think it's like $79 billion in debt, if I'm not mistaken. And so the thing that really worries me about this is the fact that WB, yes, they were in debt, but they were also taking risks. They were also, again, greenlighting the projects that needed to be greenlit. They were also letting creatives be creative and actually create unique, original movies, something that seems like it's just dying out more and more in Hollywood. And so that's what And that's just something that I think is going to be lost potentially when Paramount acquires all this debt. And the way studios are, they want things that are profitable and instantaneously profitable. They don't want to wait for things to develop a following over time. They want what they know is going to make like, $1 billion+ at the box office. And so I worry that Paramount is going to say, hey, let's cut back on the originals and let's do, Transformer movies. Let's not, like, even with DC, let's not do a Clayface movie, even if it's low budget. Let's do, another Batman movie. And so that's just kind of like my fear, so to speak, of what could happen. But the silver lining to this is kind of what I said earlier. Paramount is keeping the original creative team at WB. Now, yes, this creative team will have to answer to David Ellison and Paramount, but the uptake to this may be that he sees what's working. He sees that these people, again, they know what projects people want. They're willing to take risks, and it seems to be paying off. So they may give them a lot of leeway. And that's also kind of in terms of HBO, which is also, of course, owned by WB. It looks like the plan for Paramount and Warner Brothers is to merge this, or I'm sorry, Paramount Plus and HBO Max is to merge these streaming services together. So all that to say, it basically looks like, see you, cool kid. Glad you stopped by. But yeah, it kind of seems like the merger with these two streaming services, they want to consolidate HBO Max into Paramount Plus, but they're still keeping the HBO branding. So, and I think they're keeping the same creative team for that as well, like Casey Bloys, I believe his name is. Hope I said that right, at least closely to being correct. But yeah, they're keeping the head of HBO over there. So I think David Ellison sees, you know what, we want to make money. WB had a killer year last year. Their HBO series are among some of the most prestige in all of television. And so I think when you take all of that into account, I think Paramount will let WB have leeway. But, again, this is all just kind of at face value. I hope David Ellison isn't just, telling us lies, and I hope he's actually willing to show us that this stuff can work and that he's willing to work with WB and basically be the parent company, but not micromanage and just take 100 years of WB and claim it as their own. And kind of going from there, I want to talk about the ramifications this has to the industry as a whole. Kind of talking again about David Ellison. I don't talk politics on my channel, guys. You know that, and I'm not going to do it here. But in a situation like this, I kind of have to bring it up to a certain point. I know that there's a lot of concern that David Ellison he's very apparently friendly with Donald Trump. And so knowing that, I've heard rumors that apparently they're going to try to push some certain propaganda in their, movies and such. I don't know how true or false that is. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm also not here to tell you, anything about the current administration. But I think no matter who you vote for, no matter if you're right, left, in the middle, anything like that, a big problem is any government oversight into stuff like entertainment that's literally like, hey, I'll approve this merger if, you do this and that for me. And that's what the vibe a lot of people are kind of getting with David Ellison right now. And I hope that's not true. And I don't think it will be. I mean, I think at the end of the day, David Ellison is Hollywood. He's still a movie guy. Yes, he's probably getting more buddy-buddy with the current administration than a lot of us would see comfortable. But I don't think it's just going to turn into like, the movie version of Fox News, if that's what people are worried about. But it is a concern, and I don't want to make light of that. But that's just one of those things I can't really say too much about until we actually see what ends up happening. In terms of the actual movie side of things, I mean, far as we know, David Ellison has come out and said that they're keeping Warner Brother Films and Paramount Films at 45-day window minimum, which is pretty good. I do like hearing that. And I additionally like how it seems as though he said that physical media, they're still going to, like, Paramount has a very rich physical media catalog, so it seems like they're going to keep that alive with Warner Brothers. And also, they said they plan to release like 30 films per year between the two studios. So it sounds like they're going to let Warner Brothers, the brand, stay Warner Brothers, the brand, just owned by Paramount, which was one of my biggest things going in. Again, kind of what I said earlier. They're just going to take Warner Brothers and just infuse all of this rich history with the company into Paramount. Like, will our future kids even know what Warner Brothers was? And it sounds like that it's going to be similar to how Disney handles 20th Century Fox. They have their own creative team, their own branding. The studio is technically still there, it's just owned by Disney. And so knowing that does it keeps me a little more peaceful. I'm very glad to hear him say that again. Always a chance it could be wrong, but at face value, it seems as though that's kind of what they're going for. And then, I guess that's really my biggest takeaway from Paramount and Warner Brothers. I just kind of wanted to get on here, talk to you guys, see if you guys had any questions or concerns. Overall, I don't like this at all, really. I mean, I don't like the idea of monopolies at all. I don't like the ideas of companies merging with one another because at the end of the day, the you know I am somebody who I think the more competition we have in the industry, the business field, the better we, the consumers, are. The more movie studios there are, the better we get it. But when there's monopolies, they're not going to try as hard to give us the best product because they're going to be one of the only products. And so that's like my biggest fear with this. But if what David Ellison and Paramount and all these reports and such are saying that they want to keep WB as WB, in addition to the fact that they want to keep theatrical releases at a 45-day minimum window. They want to keep the HBO brand but merge the streaming service into Paramount. I think we're going to be pretty good. Like, I hate it less. And, a big reason why, even though Netflix did have its own fair share of concerns, absolutely, one of the biggest things would be, of course, physical media and theatrical releases. What did excite me is, one, Netflix openly admitting to the fact that, hey, we want to get into the movie industry, so this is kind of why we're going after Warner Brothers. And so just again, kind of knowing that, I think a lot of the reasons why I started to warm up to Netflix, again, keeping Warner Brothers as Warner Brothers, it seems like that's applying to Paramount. And they could just be saying that. I cannot reiterate that enough. But at face value, from what I know, I have no choice but to take Paramount's word on this and say that I think we're largely going to see Warner Brothers stay Warner Brothers. My biggest thing would be, are they going to allow as many original, risky releases? Like, are we going to get movies like One Battle After Another or Sinners or Weapons or F1? Are we going to get these kind of films, or are they just going to want to play it safe and make only sequels or mega franchise blockbusters? So, at the end of the day, how's it going, Almost PJA? We're just wrapping up our conversation about the Paramount and Warner Brothers merger. If there's anything you want to ask me, feel free to do it. I think you're like the only one on here. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I hate this idea less, and I'll just leave it at that. Catastrophic. See, I agree with you. Again, like I kind of mentioned, it may have been right before you got on here. I don't like the idea of mergers and acquisitions. I think the more competition that's out there is better, and I think that's where, capitalism is at its strongest, when there's more competition and everyone's competing, and in my opinion, consumers win. But when everything is just, a mega corporation, and you've got mega corporations merging with other mega corporations, then yeah, there's potential for it to be very catastrophic. But yeah, there was kind of, and one thing that I keep forgetting to point out that I feel like I should, honestly, this deal may very well not go through. I mean, yes, I know there's certain people that maybe have, some governmental sway at Paramount and such like that. But I do just want to point out that this is still, I mean, a lot of people are saying the Netflix and Warner Brothers merger wasn't going to go through. And realistically speaking, I mean, you could make a case, but I don't think Netflix and Warner Brothers would have been as much of a monopoly as Paramount and Warner Brothers. And so I think that's what you're going to see. There's a lot of, I think there's like senators and such in California and some other states that are trying to keep this from going through. And apparently even David Zaslav is, and I don't know how much of a valid rumor this is, but there's reports out there that David Zaslav even admitted that this wouldn't go through, which made people theorize, hey, maybe he is just playing some 4D chess. Because if you guys don't know how this stuff works, basically there's a breakup fee. So Netflix's breakup fee, when they pretty much said, I'm out, and let Paramount and the higher bid win Warner Brothers, their breakup fee was like around $2 billion that Warner Brothers had to pay Netflix. And then if this doesn't work out, or the Paramount deal falls through, then Paramount owes Warner Brothers like $10 billion. So, that's an easy $10 billion right there. So maybe he's playing 4D chess and doesn't think this will go through at all. I think it's probably not what it is, but hey, that would be really smart and honestly probably make him one of the all-time greatest CEOs in Hollywood, just in terms of the economic business perspective. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got for today, guys. Is there any questions that I missed on here? Why is a lot of people live? I think I've seen all of these. So yeah, I mean, it was fun. I didn't expect a lot of people on this live stream. I tend to do better videos, including live streams when it's regarding stuff like like directly related to pop culture, like Marvel, DC. Oh, what is this? Commercials better than game. Um, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I do apologize. Somebody said, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Um, you see, that's tricky. Gotta get my sheets in the dryer before girlfriend is home. Love your perspective. Oh, awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate that, Miss. I, hope you get your stuff done before your girlfriend gets home. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. I really appreciate it. But yeah, where was I with the other question? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? See, that's a tricky one for me. I'm going to go and say Die Hard is. Okay, well, I'll put it this way. Die Hard did not come out around the holiday season. And so I think ultimately, at the end of the day, if a movie comes out in the middle of summer, even if it has a Christmas vibe to it, it wasn't intended to be a Christmas film. To me, if you're a Christmas film, like in the traditional sense, then you would come out around the holiday season. So while I don't objectively think it's a Christmas film, I personally, not gonna lie, I tend to watch it around the holiday seasons and mostly only around the holiday seasons. I mean, after all, it is about a dude that, is trying to get home to his wife and kids or wife and family by Christmas Eve. So it has that very traditional Christmas storyline. So, and it's got Christmas music, a bunch of festivities and whatnot. So oh, looks like I disconnected there. So sorry about that, guys. I don't know how much of that you heard or not, but basically, I don't think Home Alone, or not Home Alone, I don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie technically, but personally, I watch it at Christmas time, and it gives me the warm and fuzzies in a way, albeit Bruce Willis like shooting up a bunch of, terrorists. But other than that, it definitely gives that vibe. Let's see. So I think looks like I only got one person on here. Not sure who that is, but yeah, I'm just gonna stop the live stream here, guys. It's been fun. Definitely enjoyed taking a few questions, and wasn't a lot of people, but that's okay. I'm sure more people will probably catch this on the video when I upload it. But if you were on the live stream, thanks for watching, and if you're watching this in the future, just drop in the comments down below, guys, your thoughts on the Paramount and Warner Brothers acquisition. Do you love the idea? Do you think this is just really risky, or are you kind of more in the middle like me? Like, you can see kind of the pros and the cons, but for me, I still personally lean toward I don't want this to happen, but I hate it less the more I kind of see Paramount's plans, or at least what they're presenting to the table for what they want to do with Warner Brothers. So whatever you guys are thinking, just let me know in the comments down below, and as always, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll catch you all later.